closer to midnight here in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The biggest celebration of the entire year in the city is getting underway, the pilgrimages of the Virgin of Guadalupe, and we are here to see it all unfold.
Is the patron saint of Mexico. She is inextricably linked to Mexican identity. Her image is everywhere here and it's extremely important. And these pilgrimages, these celebrations take place every year from December 9th to 12th. The story of the Virgin of Guadalupe goes all the way back to near Mexico City in the 16th century in 1531 when a poor peasant farmer named Juan Diego was visited by the Virgin Mary who told him, "Tell the bishop this is where I want him to build a church in my name." He went to the bishop and the bishop didn't believe him, but she had given him a sign. And in his cloak were red roses, which do not grow in Mexico. And not only were these red roses a sign, but they were both shocked to see that painted onto his cloak was the image of the Virgin of Guadalupe standing on top of a crescent moon. That was the sign that the bishop needed, and they built that church there near Mexico City. And every year since, people in Mexico and all around the world have been celebrating the Virgin of Guadalupe. It's hard to say how many people are here, but certainly thousands. All of them pilgrims who have come from all over representing themselves and different companies and different places around Puerto Vallarta and from outside Puerto Vallarta. All of these pilgrims are coming in a continuous procession that will continue all through the night, and they're making their way, all of them, to the steps of the main church here. They're going inside the church up to the altar and meeting the priest who is greeting them. They're saying prayers, and then they continue on their way out the church so that the procession can continue behind them. The main church right now. It is almost midnight. At exactly midnight, everyone here is going to sing a song called Las Añejitas. It's sort of a birthday song about a new dawn, a birthday song in a way for the Virgin of Guadalupe, and that marks the main day of celebration as the clock strikes midnight into December 12th. fireworks. I still have some flower petals on my hair and on my clothes. Incredible moment. Energy here right now, happy energy. Everyone is positive and celebrating and kind of in a rejoicing mood. And everywhere you look, people's faces kind of reflect that. There's little kids who've fallen asleep on their parents' shoulders. And
everyone is just excited and happy to be celebrating the Virgin of Guadalupe. So this is a really exciting moment. We are so happy to be a part of it, and just feeling the energy from this crowd is unbelievable. These celebrations are going to continue all through the night. The pilgrims will continue to come. They're going to keep the procession going down the street, up to the church, up the stairs, inside, and we are going to come back here in the morning to see the celebrations continue then. Morning. These processions have been going on all night. They're still happening. I'm just kind of in awe at how many people there are in the streets. I'm noticing a lot of people are wearing the color white because that's the traditional color, so you'll see a lot of white t-shirts and dresses in the crowd, and people are carrying flowers, singing. Also, a lot of the children are dressed in the traditional clothing, especially the little boys. You'll notice they are dressed in the same way as Juan Diego, who was of course the man who was visited by the Virgin of Guadalupe and told the bishop where to build her church. They're all dressed like him. I don't know if I've ever seen so many cute kids in my entire life. They all have, it's another one. I saw one had a little mustache painted on. They're wearing the traditional clothing with a hat often. The little girls are dressed as the Virgin Mary, and they just all look incredibly adorable. These people are all continuing the pilgrimage towards the church. They go inside, they're blessed by the priest who receives them there, and then they continue on into the streets. They might grab a bite to eat. There are lots of carts and stands set up here selling all sorts of different foods, celebrate, and then line up again to go back into the church. From the street with the procession just to give you an idea of how many thousands of people there are, and as we get closer to the church, the crowd gets bigger and bigger, and the walking kind of gets slower and slower, and all of these people are waiting until the steps of the church clear so that they can get inside too. Juan Diego, and so I said how cute he looked, and she motioned if I wanted to hold him, and of course I would never say no to that, and she let me hold him. His name was Miguel Alejandro. So cute, and he kind of woke up in my arms, and we took some photos together, and I feel really emotional that she let me hold her baby, and I just feel like in this church, this amazing celebration with all these people and all the energy here and the singing, the music, and the anticipation of getting inside here, and then she really made my day. continue until midnight tonight. Gone down, which means that the next part of the festivities is about to begin. That's what all of these crowds here are waiting for. The torch, Antorchas, is coming from Mexico City. The torch represents something really special in the pilgrimages. It's the light of Christ. It represents hope and solidarity. And everywhere in Mexico, every town sends a group of runners to Mexico City, to the Basilica of Guadalupe, where Juan Diego originally saw the Virgin of Guadalupe. And they dip their torch in the cauldron of fire there, like the Olympics, and then they carry it back running a relay. And there are about 50 runners coming from Mexico City to Puerto Vallarta. They are all selected about a year ago, so they have to apply, they have to write why they want to be a part of it, and then there's physical, obviously, training and spiritual training that goes on throughout the year to prepare them for this event. So it's really special, not only for the runners and for the pilgrims, but for the whole celebration to get the torch into the church here in Puerto Vallarta. And it represents not only, of course, the light of Christ, but also hope and solidarity and unity and connectivity, and bringing that light across all of Mexico from the origin where Juan Diego first saw the Virgin of Guadalupe, and bringing that light of Christ to the church here in Puerto Vallarta. Church, follow the torch inside to the front. They use the torch to light some of the Advent candles, now in preparation for Christmas. They had glitter explosions as the torch came by, so as you can see, I am covered in glitter. Absolutely sparkling, literally, the whole event. church was coming because there were sirens. You could see them from quite a ways down the road. And also the crowd got very quiet. I noticed that everyone except some music playing was quiet, and then as the torch approached, people started to clap. And the clapping got louder and louder as the torch got closer and closer, making its way to the church where it's been for 80 hours on its way from Mexico City. I just kept looking at that group of runners thinking, what must they be feeling after a year of physical and spiritual preparation for this exact moment that I am here in Puerto Vallarta to see? What must they be feeling in their hearts? What must they be thinking in their minds? I can only imagine, but I could just feel the emotion, and I think everyone watching them could too, and it really was a collective moment as we watched that torch go past us up the steps, bringing the light from Mexico City here to Puerto Vallarta. Here, I had heard of the Virgin of Guadalupe, but I had honestly no real sense of what a deeply meaningful event this is, not just for Catholics, of course, but for Mexicans. And for me, this is all about love and being connected to other people, relating to the people around you, and I feel truly touched by the whole experience. Watching the festivities unfold has been a true privilege. I hope that you have enjoyed this as much as I have, and that you'll subscribe for lots more adventures together. If you like the video, remember to give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one.